where are the girls? So at the moment, there is no single participant that has left the country through this influencer campaign. Is that correct? We think human trafficking, sex slavery.
Because the term has been misunderstood. Yes, what you explained is human trafficking. There was a drone that came in from Ukraine that detonated in one of the dorms where the girls live. You'll remember this program targets women who are 18 to 22, and they target people who only have from grade 9. So when you're trafficked, sometimes we don't even know that this is trafficking.
I didn't know. So you see, guys, I was trafficked.
Very, very safe here. And even safer in South Africa because we know the high cases of rape.
You hear people saying a lot of we are trafficked, we are suffering. No one is suffering. Every girl has access to internet. Every girl speaks to their family.
Hey guys, welcome to the village. Kushubile. Okay, today is a special episode. We are zooming in. We are unpacking the Alabuga Start Programme Russia. What really happened? What didn't happen? We are going behind the headlines. Guys, you know this channel, Umthombo Otembegile. Okay, and also today, what I want you to take from this video is how to navigate your overseas contracts. Okay, because we know what's happening in this country. A lot of people are going to be looking for jobs abroad. Okay, and also Gandhi, what is human trafficking? That's what we are unpacking today. How to see if you've been trafficked or not. I also didn't know I was trafficked at some point in my life. That's what we are looking at today with Miss Media. We had 20 years of work experience as a journalist in South Africa, but right now she is residing in Korea and doing her thing. Nthabi holds a master's degree in journalism and media studies. She also holds a LLB and a BCom. Guys, I don't know what is this BCom about. But anyway, let's welcome Nthabi to the village. Hi, Miss Media. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Bonnie.
Good. We're sticking to your brand name. We don't bring the ID names here. We're sticking to your brand name.
No problem. I prefer it that way.
Good. We want to know, the reason we clicked on this video is because we want to know, where are the 200,000 girls? Where are the girls?
Bonnie, there were never 200,000 girls, right? Especially not at Alabuga, not in Russia. I think that is a number that was said in a TV interview in a different context. I think they were
Right.
speaking about the total number of girls that went missing in South Africa over a particular period, not in Russia. So there were never 200 girls anywhere in this particular story.
Okay, so how many girls, South African girls, were or are in Alabuga?
So the girls that we know of so far from the research I've done, there were 8 girls in Alabuga, but initially there were 6, and then 2 of them left, which meant there were 4 left, and then another 2 came in, but then 2 others left. So at the moment, there are 4 girls in total. There have been 8 girls in Alabuga who are South African.
Okay, so in total, at the moment, there is 4 South African girls that are part of this
Yes.
program.
Yes.
Okay, and do you know how they joined the program? Was it through this influencer campaign, or it was maybe through the internet?
No, from my understanding, it wasn't through this campaign. They've been there for well over a year. A lot of them, I think they arrived, two of them, I believe, arrived around March or April of 2024. So
Okay.
it's been a year and a few months for them. Even the others, it's been a while. So none of them joined through the influencer program.
Okay, that's interesting because when you look at the numbers, there's quite a lot. I think over 10 influencers have been like part of this campaign. So it was a big drive. So
Mm.
at the moment, there is no single participant that has left the country through this influencer campaign. Is that correct?
Not that we know of. So there could be, but not that I know of. However, I do doubt that there are many girls who left. And the reason for that is because many of the girls that I did speak to who are currently there, or another girl who was previously there, all of them said their visa process took almost a year. So you can imagine the influencer campaign has been on for a while, but it hasn't been a year since the post started. So there could be some girls in the process of going to Russia, but visa processes do take a long time, and that is the fortunate part, I think.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So I've seen a little bit on TikTok. You've been speaking to a few girls. Some of them are from South Africa. Have you had an opportunity to speak to their families? We're going to go back to the girls now, but I just want to know,
Mm.
through your investigation, have you had an opportunity to speak to the families?
No, not yet. I haven't spoken to any families, and I was really not necessarily planning to, and I'll tell you why. The
Mhm.
reason is because everybody who is there is over 18, and technically they are adults. Most of them are actually even over 20, 21. So technically they can speak for themselves. Also, their families don't necessarily know exactly what is going on there. So we can only really get the primary information from the girls who are there themselves. So that is the reason why I didn't necessarily reach out to their families.
Mhm. Okay, fantastic. Um, how are the girls? The ones that you've spoken to who are South African. I know they had a lot to say. I've been seeing clips online.
No, I'm very, very safe here. I'm even safer in South Africa as we know the high cases of rape, human trafficking. So none of that is happening here. I can go at 3 a.m. in the streets and nothing will happen to me.
But
Mm.
I just want a summary from you, like what did you gather from that interaction with them?
Yeah. I spoke to quite a number of girls. Only one of them is South African, but
Mhm.
the other three have also confirmed online and in other ways that they are okay. Now, I can only tell you what they say, right?
Okay.
Because of this case, and one of the influencers involved did say that some of the answers they gave were rehearsed. So we cannot conclusively say whether what we are hearing from the girls is 100% true, but I
Okay.
can only tell you what they say. They say they are okay, they are fine, they are happy. And one of them did express that she was being bullied online and being called names because of this entire situation. So essentially, now they say they are okay. However, whether that is completely true or not is it's another issue entirely.
Okay. No, I fully understand. Because my next question is going to be, I think this is the most important part of this video, guys. I brought Miss Media today because I wanted to take us through what is human trafficking and what type of human trafficking is alleged here, right? Let's not say that took place,
Yes.
but what type of human trafficking are we talking about or referring to in this context? Because I feel like most of us don't understand what human trafficking, the phrase is, right? In most cases, people think
Mm.
human trafficking, you are somewhere in the dungeon, under some basement, you are under
Mm.
duress somewhere. That's how we picture it. And also, we think human trafficking, sex slavery. That's what we think about,
Mm.
right? So I really want
Mm.
I really want you to explain it to us. Just explain it to us in simple terms.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, I do think that is so important, right? Because the term has been misunderstood. Yes, what you explained is human trafficking, but also being taken somewhere under fraudulent means, or being coerced, or being lied to about why you are going to a particular place or a job that you are given. That also, according to the UN, constitutes human trafficking. And that's what we are speaking about in this case, where there could be instances where women are taken to Russia, to Alabuga Start, to and they're told that they would be doing particular jobs, only to arrive there and be given different jobs. Some of them have told the Associated Press that they're not getting paid the money that they thought they would get paid. Some of them have said that they work long hours, and some have said that they work with dangerous chemicals, which they didn't anticipate. So they didn't know about this before going to Alabuga Start. And those are the issues in question. And I do want us later to also talk about the physical safety of being in that particular area. So those are the issues. According to everyone I've spoken to, they are not being held against their will. They can leave at any time, and some have left. They have left without a problem. One woman that I spoke to said she left and she was only asked to serve 2 weeks notice. So they can leave if they want to, but it is the way in which they are brought in that is in question.
Right. Okay. Guys, please don't forget to like and share this video. I know you have a lot of questions for Miss Media. Do drop them in the comment section below, and she'll come back to this video and answer those questions. So from your experience or this investigation, right? What's happening with this program? You know, I know you've just mentioned it a bit right now, but can you just break it down, and why is it flagged? I'm gonna say the Western media, because that's how I think Bloomberg was running the story and other publications. And you know, some of us, we do like look at other things like, oh, where is this coming from? You know, you just want to check the source, you know. So I just want to understand what was it with this program that that was flagged, you know, that made people start writing this type of stories about it.
So there are a lot of articles out there about this program, and I have to preface this by saying nothing has been proven, right? So the program is legitimate. It is running. They're employing women there, and I'm going to start saying women because that's that's the legal definition. They're employing women, and they're working legally under visas. That is what it is. But the problem comes in after what the Associated Press uncovered, and Bloomberg also covered this story. Moscow Times also covered the story, and then it was picked up by other media as well. But what the Associated Press did is that they spoke to a few girls, and these girls told them that when they were employed, they were told they would be doing certain jobs, and when they arrived at Alabuga, they were doing completely different jobs, and that job predominantly that they were concerned about was assembling drones, which now seems to include painting drones and cutting fabric. That's what the girls have essentially said, and we'll get back to that later. So they are working in a drone factory, allegedly, and that is where the main issue is. Some of the girls are not working in the drone factory, and it doesn't seem like those girls who are not working at the drone factory have a problem. And then the girls also told the Associated Press that they work long hours. So essentially they're being exploited, right? And then I also read that there was a, perhaps maybe to backtrack, let's talk about drones. These particular drones. So it's not your regular drones that just fly to take photos. These are weapons. They are Shahid drones that are one-way drones that will be sent or are being sent to Ukraine in the war to detonate in Ukraine. So they are weapons. So essentially, you would want to know if you're leaving your country to go and make weapons, you would want to be told before you leave. And it looks like this is where the Associated Press says the problem is. People do not know that they're leaving their countries to do this and that the chemicals are dangerous. Then there was also another very, very glaring issue, which was the reports that came out in the media that there have been drone strikes in the actual factory where these girls work.
Right.
And according to the media, and it is in the Moscow Times, which is a publication in Russia, and
Right.
two of the girls that I spoke to confirmed this. On 2 April of 2024, there was a drone that came in from Ukraine that detonated in one of the dorms where the girls live. Fortunately, nobody was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was killed, but that signaled that that particular area is an area that is targeted by Ukraine. And it makes sense, right? If Ukraine believes that weapons are being made in that factory, they would want to take down that factory so that Russia cannot make weapons. But those are the allegations that are there. But the drone strike was actually confirmed by two of the girls and it was in the news. So it is a known fact.
Sure. That's hectic. And just what you've explained now and what human trafficking basically is, I feel like the participants, like the influencers that were involved in this campaign, they have no idea of what
Mm,
is going on. Like when people accuse you of
mm,
human trafficking, I feel like they don't have a full
mm,
understanding of what this means.
yes.
When someone says,
Mm,
"Oh yeah,
mm,
it's human trafficking." So I think they had maybe that
mm,
picture. The one that I described. There's people think when you're trafficked,
mm,
maybe you didn't even get a visa. They think you didn't even get a
mm,
visa. Maybe
yes.
you left,
Yes. Mm,
you were taken somewhere
mm,
by a
mm,
truck or something. So, and this is
yes.
why
Mm,
this
mm,
conversation is very important, because I have people who are looking for opportunities abroad, like yourself. You are in Korea right
yes.
now,
Mm,
right? So
mm,
you were once
mm,
here and looking for opportunities abroad.
yes.
So this
Mm,
conversation is important. And guys, we're still gonna get to how you can protect yourself, what type of red flags you can look out for when looking
mm,
for better opportunities abroad. So, guys, to give you some context, right, when it comes to human trafficking. So, Miss Media, I want to ask you, I've worked in the UK like long
mm,
time ago, 2020,
mm,
2003, right? And I
mhm,
had a visa, right? I had a working holiday visa,
yes.
but how you could get this visa, you need to confirm that you have some form of employment. So obviously there will be
Mm,
an agent in South Africa. They will promise you jobs, but they told us you're
mm,
gonna work in a factory, right? So when you
mm,
arrive there, there's accommodation, there's food, but they will deduct it from your salary. Sharp. There's no
yes.
problem, right? But the problem here is we don't get hours, right? So the hours
Mm,
are not sufficient for you to pay for your rent and for your food. So you end
mm,
up
mm,
being here owing this guy. The name of the guy was Steve. So you are sitting here, you are owing
mm,
Steve. You can't go
mm,
anywhere because now you owe him. So when you have to go to
mm,
work, you are just working for rent. But I had
yes.
friends in a different country in Scotland. So I
Mm,
organized with them and I escaped. Right. I left,
mm,
like I escaped basically.
mm,
But let me
mm,
explain this. I always had my passport with me, so I could move at any time. No one was holding
yes.
me against my will. So I want to
Mm.
understand, are those type of contracts, was I human trafficked as well? What do you think of that type of contract?
I believe as soon as you are made to leave your comfortable zone and where you are, they now make it difficult for you to leave, not necessarily holding you captive, right? If you are not having enough money to be able to leave immediately, if they make it so that you suddenly acquire debt, which you didn't know that you would acquire when you get there. Obviously, those are circumstances that are going to uh, make it very difficult for you to leave. And that, I believe, does fall under the definition of trafficking, because you did not know of all of these expenses before going there. The numbers that you signed up for are not the numbers that you are now getting. And in a way, it is a form of manipulation, perhaps a bit of coercion, which does fall into that category. So when you're trafficked, sometimes we don't even know that this is trafficking.
I didn't know. So you see, guys, I was trafficked. And that was back in 2003. I was trafficked. And also remember, we are in the UK. You know, there's nothing
Yes.
suspicious about the UK. That's another thing, because I was really like, I even made a video. I'm like, you know what? This Alabuga Start program reminds me of my time in the UK, because I also left thinking, oh my God, gonna be making money, it's gonna be this and that. And then you get there, 1 week, I think it was okay. And then after that, like, where are the hours? You know, how am I going to pay you back?
Yes.
And also, it just subjects you to vulnerability. Then you could end up
Yes.
doing different things, guys, you know. So we just really need to be careful. So, Nthabi, in summary, how can you explain this? How is this project structured?
Okay, so essentially it is a program which is advertised as a learning opportunity as well as a work opportunity. So what would happen is you would pick one of the fields to work in, maybe catering, maybe housekeeping, production. They have tiling, they have driving. So there are different fields that you can pick. And one of the things that you do get is you get your accommodation, you get your actual salary, you get your flights paid for, and you get to learn. They take Russian lessons, and according to my understanding, you do pay for those lessons from your salary. The accommodation as well, you do pay a certain portion of your salary for those things that you do get. And what they do, according to the women that I spoke to, 2 days a week they study, and then the other two they go to school, and they just alternate those 4 days like that, and then other times they are off. But it's 2 days school, 2 days work like that, and they do work 12-hour shifts.
Oh, okay. So this is why probably it's only 2 days. It's not 5 days, because the hours
Yes.
are long. Speaking of the
Yes.
hours, I don't know if you agree with me. Sometimes I feel like as South Africans, we are very spoiled. Like our labor laws, I know it can be tricky, but I just feel like, hear me well, guys, hear me well, right? I feel like South Africans, and Miss Media will tell me if I'm right or wrong, because right now she's in Korea, you know, so she will share experience with us. So I feel like our labor laws are very strict when it comes to South Africans, right? To South Africa, right? And sometimes when we go somewhere else, this is where we can feel like, yeah, this is too much. I'll make an example. There was a gentleman that I interviewed, and then I asked him, he was working as I think as a waiter on a ship, right? So he was traveling US, you know, in a cruise ship. So I asked him, are there jobs where there's no work experience required, no qualifications? He said yes, but they do not hire South Africans because South Africans, the labor laws are too strict. So for those jobs, they hire people from East Asia, right? Where the labor laws are a bit loose. So what can you add? What do you think?
I actually do think you're correct. The East is generally just known for its hardworking ethic, which sometimes South Africans are not known for. Some of the women at Alabuga that I spoke to, actually, I think it was one or two of them, they said, "Oh, South Africans are lazy. You're just lazy. 12 hours is not too long." So, and you have to know in this Alabuga program, they are currently targeting 77 countries. So everyone will come with their own different work ethic, and
Yeah.
it does differ, and I can understand why people might feel South Africans are lazy, but it is because South African labor laws do tend to favor the worker, which I think is a wonderful thing. It's an excellent thing. But if you do go to the East, like in Korea, their labor laws are also good, right? But in general, people just like to work hard. I mean, in Korea, some of the kids, they go to school in the morning at 8 or 9, and they finish by 4 p.m., 6 p.m., some even at 10 p.m. So working hard is part of their culture, So I think this is the thing with working overseas, right? The cultural differences, and they're going to be there, and they might be hard for you, and you might feel exploited, only to find that maybe you just picked the wrong country for you.
Yeah. And I just want to add to that, guys, right? So don't think we are throwing you under the bus here. I want to make another example. Don't forget to like and share the video and leave any questions you might have for Miss Media. So, I work in this business, like we are here on the internet, we create content. So now and again, brands will like approach me. And for YouTube, in most cases, it's not I think 99% of the time, it's not South African companies. And then so I was working with this company over the Christmas holidays. And I thought, okay, fine, because now it's the 24th, I haven't submitted the video, we are not done. Then it means maybe I'm going to speak to them on the 4th of January. Little did I know, 24th December, we are still conversing. Now we are on WhatsApp. These people are working. It's 24th December. I think maybe on Christmas Day there was nothing, but 26th December, and the company was from India. It's a marketing agency from India. I was like, hey, Bo, like I was shocked. Why are these people sending me emails on the 26th of December, right? Even Dubai, if you are doing a campaign and the head office is in Dubai, no shame, you must know. Those people, they don't sleep. They will send you an email
Yes.
maybe on Friday, and then you respond on a Saturday. You're thinking, oh, let me catch up with my emails. You respond on a Saturday and you get a response. On a Saturday, they will respond to your
Oh,
email.
sorry.
And in South Africa,
Absolutely.
and in South Africa, when it's after 3 on Friday, I don't think anyone reads emails when it's after 3.
Yes.
So I can imagine sometimes South Africans, they can be shocked when they leave South Africa. But Miss Media, can you share some red flags that we should look out for, even if you are looking for a teaching job? Because you might be lucky, but some people might not be lucky, So can you just tell us what type of red flags can we look for when looking for employment?
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the big things is, the minute you look for a job overseas and the visa process is too easy, if somebody tells you can come here next week, or if they say to you can come on a tourist visa, that's a huge red flag, because no country is going to allow you to work on a tourist visa. So if they tell you you're going to start the job next week or in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, visa processes, especially work visas, do take a little bit longer than that. It can be 2 months, it can be 3 months, it can be even a year, but it's definitely not going to be a week. So that is a huge one for international jobs. But also, as I always say, I know it's a cliche, but if it sounds too good to be true, then it is. You know your skills, you know your qualifications. If somebody is suddenly offering to make you a managing director when you've only been working for a year or 2 years, It's too good to be true. So, I know it's easy for us to get enticed, but they make these offers so enticing that you would want to do it, right? So I once got an offer from it was a teaching job in the UK, and they said, we will do your work visa, we want you to come and teach our son and all of this. I said, no, 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 I'm not going to somebody's home by myself. It's better to use an agency, particularly particularly if you're going to work in somebody's home. Use an agency so that you're protected, so that if you get there and you have problems, you can alert your agency and talk to them. I'm not saying agencies are perfect, but it gives you a cushion. Don't take a job from an individual without any agency assistance or the assistance of a recruiter. That is very dangerous. That is definitely a red flag. And also, if they are not telling you some things, if they're not answering some of your questions, particularly about your contract, what is in the contract? You need to ask, how much am I earning? How many hours am I working? How many days off do I have in a year? And out of those days off, are you including holidays or not? And also, not lastly, but very, very importantly as well, how do I terminate this contract? You need to ask them, even though you haven't started working, you need to ask them, what do I need to do to leave this job? Do you expect me to work for 2 weeks, for a month, for 3 months? What are the conditions for me to leave this job? And then also, what are the conditions that you can fire me under? Right? Because different countries have their different laws. So you need to know what can get you fired, what can get you a disciplinary hearing, and also how you can leave. Now, with some overseas jobs, they might ask you to stay for maybe 3 months notice, which is not really the common way in South Africa, but understanding that they do need to replace you. And if they're replacing you with a foreign worker, that person would have to apply for a visa as well. So they might ask you to stay longer. You just need to know these things at the beginning of your contract.
Wow.
People must not be shy. Don't be shy or embarrassed or afraid to ask about the conditions of you leaving, and ask them whether they will pay your ticket or not, because it doesn't seem that important because you're excited to get a job. But the day you want to leave is when you'll realize how important that clause is, So I will explain about the teaching visa in Korea. So if you want to change jobs on a teaching visa in Korea, you need your current employer to write you a letter. They need to give you a release letter in order for you to work for a different company as a teacher in that different company. So that is something you need to discuss. Is your employer going to be willing to give you that release letter? Because if you don't get that letter, you cannot work for a different employer. You just cannot. So those are things that are a little bit uncomfortable, but you have to bring them up. They safeguard you at the end of your contract. If your contract ends and you finish your 1 year, then you can move without a release letter. But if you're unhappy in the middle of your contract, your employer needs to release you. And you do have to find out if they will do that. A lot of people don't bother with that step. And then sometimes they're stuck for 1 year with an employer that they don't like.
I'm so glad you mentioned this, even for teaching, because sometimes people think you'll only be exploited if you're going there for odd jobs, like semi-skilled jobs, right?
Mhm.
So they don't think
Yes.
you could be exploited even as a professional. Someone left a comment
Yes.
in one of my videos that actually it happens even when you are working as a professional. Don't think you won't be exploited because you are a professional.
Yes. So thank you very much for having me. I think this is a very, very important topic to have, particularly for young women. And you'll remember this program targets women who are 18 to 22, and they target people who only have from grade 9. And those are people who are desperate for jobs. Yes, you only need grade 9. You don't need a matric, just past grade 9. So those are people who are desperate for jobs. So I just want to say, no matter how desperate you are for a job, you need to check everything, and also maybe find ways to finish your education so that you can get a more professional job that will likely pose less issues to consider. It is so important to be safe when working abroad because you're vulnerable. You're away from home. You get homesick. The currency might be a bit stronger than South Africa. A lot could go wrong. So if you ever consider it, also make sure you are joining platforms on social media, on Facebook, if you can, WhatsApp groups, where you can meet other people working in that country where you are going, because then you can ask questions. You might be lucky to find people who work in the same company where you are going. So do try to socialize as well. You know, we have the blessing of social media. Try to socialize and ask around. Go to Reddit, ask about the company that you're going to work for, and just be super, super careful. It is better to be alive and unemployed than to be missing or to have something really bad happen to you. It's just not worth not doing your homework. Mm.
Yeah. You heard it from Miss Media, guys. Nawazi-ke guys le channel umthombo othembekile. Yabona nje njengoba sengitshelile-ke mina what's happening. Look no further. Please make sure you share this video, okay? Leave any questions that you might have for Miss Media. Miss Media, thank you so much for your time. Guys, we are recording this at night because of the time zone, obviously. Thank you so much for your time. Yo, guys, please like and share the video. Leave any questions you might have for Nthabi or myself. But guys, kushubile. I hope you found value, guys, from this video, okay? Share it with as many people as you can because kushubile. Bye. I'll see you on the next one.